I grew up in a rural town surrounded by farms, abandoned churches, and run-down houses. Most people there didn't have a lot of money, and even our neighbor was a bit unusual, although friendly. My family wasn't well off either, but things improved when my siblings and I started working. One day, years ago, I matched with a girl named Kelly on a dating app called Slander. We hung out during late summer and September, going on hikes and exploring the area. However, by early October, we were running out of ideas for cheap dates. We decided to take a new route in my car, hoping to find something fun to do. As we drove along, the day turned foggy, and we stumbled upon a small restaurant with outdoor seating. We spent some time there, and when we left, it was even foggier. We continued down a desolate road with open fields and farmland on both sides, occasionally passing patches of trees. Then, we saw something unusual, a sign for a pumpkin patch. The sign was simple, just a wooden picket sign with an arrow pointing to the right, leading to a dirt driveway. Curiosity got the better of us, and we decided to explore it. We drove down the driveway, passing a house, and found a massive pumpkin patch nestled between the house and the woods. There were at least 200 pumpkins scattered around, thanks to the fog. We parked next to an old pickup truck, the only other vehicle there. We saw an older couple sitting on the back deck of the house. As we got out of the car, they greeted us warmly and said we could pick any pumpkin for free. The fog made it difficult to see them clearly, but I noticed that the old man had a gummy smile, which was a bit off-putting. We thanked them and ventured into the pumpkin patch to find the perfect one. It took some time, but we eventually found a big, healthy-looking pumpkin. When we returned to the back deck, the old couple was gone. We decided it was time to leave, as we had already thanked them and they had said the pumpkins were free. However, as I started doing a 3-point turn to leave, we heard someone yelling. Startled, we turned to see a middle-aged man in a cap yelling, "Hey, stop!" I lowered the window, and he angrily asked what we were doing. He threatened to call the police and demanded that we put the pumpkin back immediately. We tried to explain that the older couple had told us we could take any pumpkin we wanted. The man insisted there was no older couple and said he had no parents. We were both confused and looked at each other in disbelief. We recounted how we had seen the older couple on the back deck just minutes ago, but the man vehemently denied their existence. He took the pumpkin, warned us never to return, and spat on the ground before going back inside his house. We left the place, utterly bewildered. We even considered the possibility that it was all a cruel joke. However, one day, my siblings went to the same pumpkin farm. They bought pumpkin from the same man and asked him about the older couple. He claimed to live there alone. To this day, it remains a mystery. Was the man lying about the older couple, or were they real? If he wasn't lying, who were those mysterious people?
Story 2. Loading.
One late October day, my friend Connor invited me over to his house for some fun. Connor's parents were away, and he had his older sister, Chantel, watching over him for the weekend. I usually spent my weekends with friends, so I agreed to hang out with him. We started the day playing Call of Duty and chatting about school, sports, and other things high school kids care about. Eventually, Connor suggested going to a Halloween party in his neighborhood that many of our high school friends were attending. I was initially unsure, but he convinced me, so I agreed to go. Connor and I decided on a simple costume, security staff shirts. We got ready and headed to the party, which was just a short walk away. The house was decked out in Halloween decorations, and the music could be heard from outside. Inside, it was packed with around 70 high school students, all having a good time. I joined a circle of friends, including some of my baseball teammates. We spent hours chatting, reminiscing, and doing typical party activities. As the night went on, I began to feel tired and out of it. I knew it was time for me to head home and get some rest. I looked for Connor, who was chatting up a girl in the kitchen. He agreed to let me go back to his house to sleep. However, the girl asked if I could fetch some drinks from the basement, and I agreed to help. I stumbled my way into the dimly lit basement and started searching for drinks in the fridge. Suddenly, a man's voice said boo behind me. Startled, I turned to see a tall man in a black cloak costume grinning at me. It was weird, but I was too tired to question it. The guy introduced himself as the party host's cousin and tried to strike up a conversation. I was uncomfortable and just wanted to leave. He bid me goodbye as I rushed upstairs, and I headed back to Connor's house, reflecting on the strange basement encounter. Connor's house was dark when I arrived, and Chantel's car was gone. I went straight to the basement to sleep without turning on any lights. As I lay there, I heard a crash upstairs. I thought it was my imagination and tried to ignore it. But then, I heard creaking floorboards above me, like someone walking around. It was too heavy to be Connor or Chantel. I texted Connor, who confirmed he hadn't arrived home yet. The basement door opened, and I heard someone coming down the stairs. I peeked around and saw the same man from the party standing there, softly lit by the stair light. I stayed still, hoping he would leave. After a few tense moments, he turned and quietly exited the basement, closing the door behind him. I immediately dialed 911 and explained the situation, providing all the necessary information. I waited anxiously in the basement. I tried to open the basement windows, but they were sealed shut. I had no way to escape through the basement door, which the man had been standing by earlier. The police arrived and arrested the man, who was still in the house, hiding under Chantel's bed. It turns out he had followed me home, and the whole situation was incredibly unsettling. Surprisingly, the security cameras from neighboring houses showed the man following me until he lost sight of me in the cul-de-sac. He then lurked around Chantel, watching her before breaking into the house. Always stay aware of your surroundings and trust your instincts.